Hi, He fans and She Ravers, back to Eternia today to take a look at the first of four new Masters of the Universe vintage retro style figures from Super 7. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new He-Man figure. And these are in the style of the original guys back there. So we've had the Amazing Classics line, the Club Grayskull line, which is basically the same types of figures, the taller figures with more detail, but these are in the style of the original 80s classics that we grew up on, and I really like these. They really look like this is what the next wave of He-Man figures should have been before it got canceled, before that final line ended. This looks like this was the line that should have been on the pegs at Toys R Us, Kmart, and all those other great stores from the 80s the following year when there were no more He-Man figures that year. So the original card style has been recreated, and while I don't have any original vintage figures, I do have one of these beautiful commemorative figures. So to compare the two, you see a comic book in behind here. That's a vital part of any He-Man figure. And the new one also has a comic book. I like this yellow burst bubble right here. It reminds me of some of the later figures had something like that, which showed off their individual powers if they had some sort of special gimmick. So that looks like something that would have been on those figures at the time. And also another nice little detail is the originals had figure twists right here for a power punch, and they have recreated that right on there. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. The top corner says new, the other top corner says adult collector, which a lot of us are. And just a heads up, a lot of these have had the harness come loose, so mine is one of those. And that might be kind of a bummer for mint on card collectors, but the way I look at it is, if so many of them are doing that, well, that would make this one pretty normal, wouldn't it? So it doesn't really bother me. I'm going to open this one anyway. We're going to be taking a look at He-Man first, which is currently available along with the other three and following sets on Big Bad Toy Store. So you can get these guys all in one set, or you can get them individually if you just want to get one of them. And just a heads up, if you are a mint on card collector, if you don't plan on opening these, the cards are in fantastic shape from Big Bad Toy Store. They always pack everything very securely there, and you can see all of the edges look fantastic here. No bending. They still even have the peg hole still intact here, so you can punch that out if you want and hang it on a wall, or just get a proper case for it if you want. But I'm really impressed with Big Bad Toy Store. They always take great care of the packaging as well, even though it's all about the toy for a lot of toy collectors. So let's crack open this one and take a look at the most powerful man in the universe. Alright, so I've cut through this with the most powerful blade in the universe, and this is my first time ever holding one of these, ever touching one of them. So you're getting my first impressions, reactions. That's kind of cool. This little protective baggie here, which I guess protects his feet from rubbing on the inside of the package. Paint wearing off like that. So I've heard about these. First of all, this is an itch that I'm sure a lot of collectors want scratched immediately. Put this thing back in. And I guess that's why that's happening. These don't really hold all that well. Let's take a look at the other side. That side holds a little bit better, but this one, at least on the first one, isn't holding all that well. And yeah, that is kind of interesting. Now, I've heard about the legs. It's a different style now. Instead of using the rubber, which really did not allow these guys to stand very well before, They've got an actual joint in there, and I hear these are breaking a lot, and that really sucks too. When you're so happy and passionate about something as awesome as this. I mean, right off the bat, let me say this thing looks awesome. It feels awesome. It feels pretty much just like one of the original He-Man figures, maybe even a little bit better. But these legs are worrisome. I do not want to be breaking these. I do appreciate that. This is a little more sturdy than the old rubber. That old rubber was just such a pain in the butt to get these guys to stand, and this is coming loose again. So let's see if we can get that extra tab. There we go. Oh, no, it's not holding. So that might need a little bit of crazy glue on that last one. And that's unfortunate when right out of the package you have to do something like that. Fix something up a little bit. But the legs, I gotta say, are fantastic. That's a lot more sturdy feeling than the original He-Man figures were. And speaking of the original He-Man figures, I've got the original style He-Man figure. This is the commemorative edition right here to compare him to. And before we get to that, let's take a look at what else is included in the packaging. We've got the accessories all in one nice little neat baggie, which are all taped up. And we open that up and dump the accessories out. Oh, there goes the sword. So we've got, what do we got here? He includes shield, like the original He-Man, and it attaches in much the same way as it used to. So this is a trip right down memory lane. I think that's really cool that the engineering is exactly the same. You just fit his fingers into the shield part here, and then you pop this on here onto the wrist. It's a little bit of a snug fit. And first thing I want to check out is this seems to be coming apart. So this hasn't been glued together. It's something that you can just clip on there. So that's something I guess you can glue together if you want. But we just, oh, before I put the shield on, just to take a look at some of the paint detailing on this guy. Bracelets don't have any detailing on them, they're just painted orange this time out. And orange on the belt too. Just regular brown on the boots. Let's see if we can get this thing on without causing any major stress marks. Here's the issue right here. I feel like if I'm going to press down on this, this is going to bend some plastic. So this isn't giving very much. We got it. Perfect. That's in there nice and secure. Fingers are in there. Awesome. And he also comes with two versions of his sword. One is full and one is the half sword, because you gotta have with a little bit of extra, it's called flash, and there's extra plastic on like that. And this one would attach to Skeletor's half of the power sword. So cool that they retain that. It's an iconic part of He-Man figures, and that they also give you the original sword complete. Seems to fit in his hand really nicely. That's cool. And one more accessory in the packaging, which is an absolute must-see, is this, which I thought was a comic book, but it's actually not. It's a card from Toy to Toon. Gives you a little bit of information on He-Man, and well, I thought that was a comic book. I guess if you are a mint-on card collector, it's cool that they have something in behind the figure there that sort of looks like a comic book, but it is not a comic book. And just a quick look at the back too. I didn't show you this. vintage style artwork here, information, pictures of the other figures available, very similar to the artwork that was on the back of the original He-Man figures. So now that we've seen those, we can take a look at the actual figure itself. And look at this guy. I told you, he does not want to stand. He does include the original waist attack. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. I don't know if it's just because he's new or better spring technology, but he's really rocking back and forth when he does that, compared to the, this is a commemorative, but it's exactly like the originals. It's just, it doesn't have as much snap in it. He just lost his sword. Way to go, He-Man. Okay, I have retrieved the original He-Man sword, and just to compare the spring with an original He-Man figure, this is an original Prince Adam, and yeah, he is vintage, so his spring is still working okay, but this is awesome! And there goes his sword flying. It shows you just how secure the shield is on here. This shield is flying off. Like, it wants to come apart from how much impact this guy has. That is, look at that, that's awesome. So I'm really impressed with that. But with all that twisting, this has come loose again. So that definitely, that little nub there definitely needs to be built back up. The harness does detach like it used to, like on the original one. So I think that's cool too. Cool little bit of nostalgia that it connects and disconnects just like the original one did. So figures like this are really cool because I do really appreciate a good repro, a good reissue. But in the case of something like this is not a repro or a reissue. It's like a fantasy what if continuation of the original figure. What would have happened if this line kept going? And when you're doing that, I think it's important to really stick as close as possible to the original look and feel of the original figures. And I think that they've really done that here. So let's do a little comparison here between the original He-Man, original style He-Man, and the new He-Man. We'll do a comparison of the swords, and you can just see how sturdy this guy is. I'm bouncing him around a bit, and he's nice and sturdy. So first thing I notice is that the original style has a lot more detail on the boots. You see more detail in the sculpting from around the edge of the boots, as well as the individual straps on the boots. And this one, well, he's supposed to look like he did on the show, so he's going to have less detailing. It is cool though that the belt retains the original little bump details on it as well. The orange is pretty close. The browns are pretty close on it as well. And we take a look at the swords. The sword on the retro or vintage version is more Filmation style on the cartoon, and that one is more what we saw in the mini comics. And then for the bodies are actually really similar. Very similar. And the new one just definitely looks more shiny up close. I don't know if he's a little darker. It might appear like that with my lighting, but in person he looks like he might be a little bit more tanned. It's very subtle though. It's very similar, and there is a definite color change, color difference. This guy does not want to hold his sword. Color difference in the body harness. This one is much more gray, whereas on the vintage it's a little bit more blue, a little bluish, which is strange because it's not the same color as the sword and the shield. The sword and the shield are more gray, but the harness definitely has more blue in it. So that's not what the original one was like. For the original, he was all of the accessories were made of the same material, the same color. And then we can see the difference in the faces here. This one has some really nice detail in it and good paint applications too. I'm sure toy collectors know all about paint application woes and derpy eyes, but that looks really good. That's really impressive. And it's a nice compromise of the hair too. It's kind of, I think, more a combination of the original hairdo and He-Man's hairdo in the cartoon than a straight up recreation of the Dutch boy haircut that He-Man had in the show. So I like that, and I also like that he's got that intense, stern look on his face instead of being really happy. He-Man's a happy guy, but I like the intensity. This guy has the power of Grayskull, so I think it's cool that they went with that sculpt instead, because that's more in keeping with the original look. So good choice by Super7 in my opinion on that one. And if you're curious if he's compatible with Battle Cat with the new leg style, you can take a peek here and see if he'll fit on the great beast. Let's see here. Again, these twist and bend. It's like they have 2 points of articulation. It seems really sturdy though. I think it's better than the original style. And Battle Cat's belt has come a little bit loose, but I think that's much better actually than the original one. He seems to sit in there much more sturdy than the original He-Man does in there. So just for comparison, pop this guy in here, and yeah, he's not as sturdy because he's got so much more range. He's got less sturdiness in his legs. It's still a pretty good fit, but honestly the new one feels more secure. He feels more like you're gonna pop him on there and he's not gonna wiggle on there. So I really like how that looks. So that's the new retro style He-Man from Super7, and I think it's a fantastic addition to your vintage Masters of the Universe collection. It's a great looking sculpt, nice stiff joints, and he looks like some of the Filmation characters that were released late in the line, like Sorceress, like this Orko right here. I think he goes perfectly. But I think he also works as a great in-between for the original, very serious looking Masters of the Universe figures, and the more Filmation looking guys too. So I think Super7 has done a great job on this particular figure, and I'll be taking a look at some of the other Super7 vintage style figures in the near future. Skeletor, Hordak, and the She-Ra that never was but should have been, the Filmation style She-Ra. I want to give a shout out to all the patrons supporting the channel. Lots of fun stuff going on the Patreon tribe. Great discussion going on, and a couple of new special features, some extras, doing some blueprints reviews for G.I. Joe vehicles, and for the video game walkthroughs. If you prefer to watch the walkthroughs without commentary, then every video game walkthrough I do is posted on there without commentary as well, in addition to the commentary versions posted on the YouTube channel. Thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to share the video with your Masters of the Universe friends, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Until next time, remember, you have the power.